Good evening and welcome to KiniNews. Do we need a vote of confidence for Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob? Well, previously the Yang di-Pertuan Agong had decreed that he has to test his confidence in the parliament. But Attorney General Idrus Harun said there is no need for it, and right now, it looks like it's not even on the agenda. A vote of confidence on Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob is not on the agenda when the Dewan Rakyat reconvenes next week. This is according to Lembah Pantai MP Fahmi Fadzil. Fahmi shared a photo of the preliminary order paper and said that there was no motion of confidence on the 9th Prime Minister. This was despite a decree by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong that the new Prime Minister must seek a vote of confidence as soon as possible. In a statement last week, Attorney General Idrus Harun said that a vote of confidence is not necessary as the Yang di-Pertuan Agong had already appointed Ismail Sabri Yaakob as Prime Minister as per the federal constitution. He had also argued that a vote of confidence would actually undermine the king's powers. According to the preliminary order paper, the first business after the royal address when Parliament reconvenes is to choose a deputy speaker. This will be followed by a motion from the Home Minister on housekeeping matters, followed by a motion from the Beaufort MP Aziza Mohamad Dun to thank the Yang di-Pertuan Agong for his address. The government will then table several bills for the second reading. Meanwhile, none of the motions submitted by MPs on the removal of the Dewan Rakyat Speaker Azhar Azizan Harun will appear on the agenda. Previously, Fahmi and Pulai MP Salahuddin Ayub had publicly revealed that they were among many who had submitted such motions. De facto Law Minister Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar had a press conference today, and of course the topic of the confidence vote was brought up with him. According to him, it was not needed, and he claimed that the Agong had already consented to not having one. De facto Law Minister Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said that the Yang di-Pertuan Agong has consented for Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob not to undergo a confidence vote in Parliament. He added that the federal constitution has given wide powers to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to appoint the Prime Minister who he believes commands a majority. At the time, every MP had met with the Agong, with 114 of them stating their support for Ismail as Prime Minister.
Saya tidak melihat bahawa orang ni terus bertukar pendirian untuk tidak menyokong pada persidangan parlimen yang akan datang. Kalau masa tu ada 6-7 bulan macam tu, saya berfikir mungkin dah perubahan pemikiran tu berlaku. Tapi dalam masa yang singkat, Perdana Menteri baru duduk dalam kursi dia, takkan perkara ni berlaku. Jadi berlandaskan itu, Tuanku berkenan bahawa tak perlulah diadakan undi tidak percaya ni dilaksanakan lagi.
Meanwhile, Wan Junaidi also commented on reforms that the government planned to make. He said the reforms former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin had offered to the opposition will still be considered by the government. Wan Junaidi said he would study all the proposals Muhyiddin made, including a limit to the Prime Minister's tenure, on the anti-hopping laws and the implementation of Undi 18. Malaysia's Dewan Rakyat only sits on average 68 days a year, which pales in comparison to the parliaments of some other Commonwealth nations. So while our law minister is busy cooking up some new bills for parliamentary reform, one MP has some suggestions for what can be baked in. But before we tell you what that is, our leaders need to be held accountable, whether they're sitting in parliament or not. And you can help us to do just that by donating to Kini TV through the link in the description. We gotta keep our leaders accountable not just to each other, but also to you, the voters. Bayan Baru MP Sim Suzin has called on de facto Law Minister Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar to increase the number of days that Parliament sits for as part of his Parliament reform initiatives. In a statement today, Sim noted that Wan Junaidi had announced a transformation program for Parliament with the proposal of 2 new acts, which are the Parliament Services Act and a new Parliament Act. Sim welcomed the initiative and urged bipartisan involvement in the drafting of the new laws. However, he pointed out how the government did not have much time to pass laws, as Parliament is expected to expire in July 2023. He said drafting the 2 new laws is a long and tedious process, and it is unlikely the laws can be passed within a short period of time. He added that there is an urgent need to transform Parliament immediately and called on the minister to focus on some immediate reforms. According to Sim, on average, Malaysia's lower house sits only 68 days a year, and the upper house sits 26 days in a year. In other Commonwealth countries, their typical parliament sitting days range from 160 to 200 days a year. With this, he said the government should immediately increase the Dewan Rakyat sitting to 120 days and Dewan Negara sitting to 60 days. He said this reform will immediately bring the parliament to a vibrant democracy and bring the voices of the suffering people to be heard. Now let's get back to the confidence vote. Warisan President Shafi was also asked about the issue today. Let's take a look at what he had to say about it. Warisan President Muhammad Shafi Abdal said that his party was guided by the decree of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on the motion of confidence. However, it is up to the government to validate whether they had the numbers in parliament. He said it is now in the hands of the government and what is important is to move forward as there has been too much politicking. He said this in response to a question on the statement by Attorney General Idrus Harun on the vote of confidence. On the 4th of September, Idrus had said that a vote of confidence was not necessary as the Yang di-Pertuan Agong had already appointed Ismail Sabri Yaakob as Prime Minister as per the federal constitution. Idrus added that it would undermine the Agong's constitutional powers. Ismail Sabri replaced Muhyiddin Yassin, who stepped down on the 16th of August after 15 AMNO MPs withdrew their support for the Bersatu President as Premier. 3 days before appointing Ismail as Prime Minister, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong had decreed that the new Prime Minister must seek a vote of confidence as soon as possible. However, according to the Dewan Rakyat order paper, the vote of confidence is not on the agenda. The order paper can still be changed at the discretion of the Speaker.
Good Morning G-Sure is the first plant-based and complete nutrition drink made in Malaysia. It is suitable for those who are lactose intolerant. Research made by local universities found that more than 90% of our Malaysian population are lactose intolerant. Lactose intolerance can cause bloated stomach and diarrhea. Good Morning G-Sure helps to improve the immune system, reduce the risk of illnesses, and helps to improve general well-being and strengthen our bodies. A happy family starts with a healthy family. I'm still active, healthy, and going strong at the age of 52. It has to be Good Morning G-Sure.
With Malaysia setting its course to enter the endemic stage of the COVID-19 pandemic, an AMNO leader says that while the government's move to speed up COVID aid is a welcome sight, cash aid alone is not enough. AMNO Information Chief Sharil Hamdan has welcomed the government's move to speed up the Special COVID-19 Assistance or BKC. However, he said cash alone is inadequate. In a statement yesterday night, he said more measures should be rolled out as the country is entering the endemic stage. According to Sharil, currently 4.5 million EPF contributors have less than 5,000 ringgit, and once Aijitra is completed, over 1 million people could have no money left in their accounts. He added that more than 750,000 people are unemployed, most of them youths, and while they did not turn down food and cash aid, they preferred job and business opportunities. He said while the government plans for the reopening of the economic sector, they must also tackle the issue of unemployment with a thorough policy, and the government has to play a more direct role in creating and funding job opportunities in the short and medium term. On the 1st of September, Ismail Sabri announced that the BKC would be paid in stages, with Phase 1 payments credited from the 6th of September. He added that the government would channel more assistance to the people starting next month. Lately, there have been some reports of a loss in confidence in PKR's lawmaker Aminuddin Harun, who is the Negeri Sembilan Menteri Besar. So is this a state issue or a party issue? Well, 4 PKR State Assembly persons from Negeri Sembilan have clarified that it's just an internal party affair. 4 PKR Assembly persons from Negeri Sembilan have clarified that the issue of PKR grassroots losing faith in Negeri Sembilan Menteri Besar Aminuddin Harun as the state PKR chief is an internal party affair. The PKR lawmakers issued the clarification after a public statement by party grassroots against Aminuddin yesterday raised concerns that it could also undermine the stability of the Pakatan Harapan-led Negeri Sembilan state government. The statement allegedly came following a meeting that day and included the names of the 4, namely Ismail Ahmad, M. Ravi, Muhammad Rafi Abdul Malik, and Michael Yek Tiu Ching. However, Yek and Ravi had since denied involvement with the joint statement which had called for Aminuddin's resignation. In a new statement, the 4 assembly persons said they took note that many PKR supporters were dissatisfied with Aminuddin's performance as the Negeri Sembilan PKR chief and stressed that this was an internal party issue. They also stated their support for Anwar as the PKR president and sought his intervention to resolve the problem. Earlier today, PKR Communications Director Fahmi Fadzil confirmed with Malaysia Kini a report that Aminuddin had been summoned by the party leadership to explain his position. He added that the internal unrest in Negeri Sembilan PKR and the issue of Kuala Langat North Forest Reserve's degazettement will be top priorities at a party meeting this week. That's a wrap from us this evening. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. Don't forget, you can also follow us on our social media, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook to get the latest headlines as well. If you'd like to support the independent media, do consider a subscription to MalaysiaKini.com. When you're heading out, don't forget your mask, and when you can, do try to stay home. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe, Malaysia.